Have you ever felt like you're just drowning, in this sea of
Oh,
expectations,
definitely.
this constant pressure to be happy or like special and optimizing every single bit of your life?
Yeah, it's relentless.
It's like the whole world is just shouting at you, telling you what you should care about. And honestly, sometimes it feels utterly exhausting.
It really does. It's a feeling I think many of us can deeply relate to. This endless barrage of information, the curated perfection you see everywhere on social media,
Right.
and this relentless chase for more. But paradoxically, it leaves so many people feeling strangely hollow, kind of anxious, and just perpetually discontent, even with all the striving for happiness.
Exactly. That tension, that feeling of just too muchness. It's precisely why we're diving deep today. We're looking at a book that doesn't just cut through the noise, it kind of slaps you awake.
Like a cold shower, yeah.
Totally. Like a cold shower and a heat wave. We're talking about Mark Manson's The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck.
Mm.
Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions about cynicism or apathy,
Yeah.
let's be really clear. This book is not about giving up or not caring at all.
No, that's a critical distinction. The book's core idea is actually about choosing where you care. Manson argues that your time, your energy, and yeah, your funks to give, they're incredibly finite resources.
Limited supply.
Very limited. So the art here isn't indifference. It's about strategically allocating those resources to what genuinely matters specifically to you. It's sort of anti-positivity, anti-pretension.
Brutally honest.
Brutally honest, exactly. A guide to aligning your values with reality. You could almost call it like stoicism in ripped jeans and a hoodie.
I love that image.
Uh-huh.
Because Manson's voice, it really embodies that, doesn't it? He writes like that no-nonsense friend, maybe at the back of the bar, who secretly read a ton of philosophy,
Hi, yeah.
but can still make you laugh while you're, well, maybe crying into your drink a little bit.
Yeah.
His core argument is refreshingly simple, but it's also profoundly challenging. Life is hard. Pain is inevitable. So maybe let's stop trying to be exceptional all the time or avoid discomfort and just start getting comfortable with being real.
And this approach, it came from a very specific problem Manson saw in the whole self-help world.
Okay.
He saw this glaring contradiction. People obsessed with feeling good, looking perfect, chasing success, and yet feeling so deeply hollow and anxious and miserable underneath it all. He realized the industry was kind of missing something. Radical honesty, realism, accepting limits, and crucially, the permission to just be, well, not amazing all the time.
Just average, even.
Just average, and that being okay.
So he wasn't just pointing out a problem. He was really challenging a whole way of thinking.
Yeah.
He started asking these provocative questions, didn't he? Like, what if constantly chasing happiness is the very thing making you miserable?
Right. Or what if being average isn't actually a failure? What if it's a kind of freedom?
That's a big one.
It is. And maybe the most provocative, what if we stopped pretending we care about everything and instead chose just a few things that are really worth struggling for?
Choosing the struggle.
Exactly. And ultimately, Manson's overarching mission, the thing that ties all these questions together, is about liberating people from what he calls the tyranny of false expectations.
Okay, what does he mean by that?
Well, these are the societal pressures, to always be happy, always perfect, always exceptional, even when it's completely unrealistic or unhealthy. He wants to teach us that subtle art of choosing our struggles wisely, finding meaning in the everyday stuff, accepting discomfort, and really owning your life, instead of constantly chasing some idealized, unattainable version of happiness.
Okay, let's unpack this subtle art then. Let's explore some of Manson's core ideas, chapter by chapter almost, and see how he builds his case. He kicks things off right away, challenging our need for constant positivity. He argues trying too hard to be happy just makes us unhappy.
Indeed. That first chapter, Don't Try, it presents this fascinating paradox. He says, the key to a good life is not giving a feck about more. It's giving a feck about less.
Less is more.
In this context, yes. It fundamentally challenges that whole self-improvement narrative that more effort always equals more reward. Instead, he suggests this powerful calculus of conscious subtraction, choosing what not to care about.
Okay.
And he drives it home with that provocative line. The desire for a more positive experience is itself a negative experience.
Wow. That immediately hits home, doesn't it? Especially with like hustle culture and everyone curating their perfect lives online.
Absolutely.
It feels like a much needed detox. And this idea, it flows right into his next chapter. Happiness is a problem. where he insists pain isn't something to avoid, but something with purpose.
Precisely. He emphasizes that suffering actually builds meaning, and problems don't just disappear, they just evolve, they get upgraded.
Right.
So the real question isn't how do I avoid pain, it's what pain am I willing to endure for the things that actually matter to me? And this contrasts so sharply with today's culture of, instant gratification and just numbing distractions. He highlights that real growth comes with discomfort. As he puts it, problems never stop. They just get upgraded.
If that's not a wake-up call, I don't know what is,
Yeah.
seriously. And this leads to another of his maybe most impactful ideas, the blunt truth that you are not special.
Oh, yeah.
This chapter is a direct hit on that whole inflated self-esteem movement.
It really is. Manson basically says entitlement is the enemy of resilience. Not everyone is destined for greatness, and crucially, that's okay. It's perfectly fine.
And that's liberating.
Incredibly liberating. Because if you're not burdened by this constant pressure to be extraordinary or exceptional, you're actually free to just start doing meaningful work for its own sake, not just chasing external validation.
Yeah.
He puts it wisely. The more you think you're special, the more you feel entitled to things you haven't earned.
Oof. That shifts the focus then from this outcome-based identity to one rooted more in action and personal values. It's about choosing what to struggle for, like you said earlier.
Exactly. And that's his chapter, The Value of Suffering. He tells us flat out, choose your struggle. This is where values become absolutely crucial. Bad values, Manson argues, lead to bad struggles. Worthless struggle.
Okay.
So he encourages us to really audit what we truly care about, emphasizing that who you are is defined by what you're willing to struggle for.
That feels like such a powerful counter-narrative to, say, the influencer age, where people seem to be burning out just trying to be liked.
Totally. He flips the script. He says, choose better values. Suffer for something actually worthy.
That's a profound point, and it leads right into the idea that even when you think you're not choosing, you still are choosing.
Yes, and you're always choosing. Another crucial message. Even when you don't choose, you're still making a choice.
Yeah.
Taking responsibility, even for things outside your direct control, that's where your power lies.
So stop the blame game.
Stop the blame game. While you can't always control what happens to you, Manson highlights that you are always responsible for how you interpret and respond. That perspective is incredibly empowering. It moves you out of victimhood and into agency.
That's where real growth begins, isn't it? By saying, okay, it's on me. And if we're going to embrace that kind of responsibility, it also means we need to get comfortable with, well, being wrong sometimes.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're wrong about everything, but so am I. Manson challenges our deep-seated need for certainty. He argues certainty is just a mirage, and real growth actually comes from being wrong.
Doubt isn't weakness, then.
Not at all. It's evolution. In our polarized world, this is such a profound plea for curiosity over conviction. Less ego, more learning. He notes, the more something threatens your identity, the more you will avoid it, even if it's good for you.
That's a powerful reflection on why we resist change or new information, isn't it?
Definitely.
And this sounds like a recipe for constant learning and self-improvement, especially when it connects to taking action.
It does. And in his chapter, Failure is the Way Forward, he offers this deeply counterintuitive truth for so many people. Action isn't the result of motivation, it's the cause of it.
Say that again? Action is the cause of motivation.
That's his point. Stop waiting around to feel ready. Just do the thing, and confidence will follow. Success, he argues, is basically a feedback loop built on failure.
Wow.
So for any creative, any entrepreneur, anyone just stuck in inertia, this chapter is incredibly empowering. It gives you permission to just start. As he says, the only way to become comfortable with failure is to fail a lot.
That's such a practical and honestly liberating approach. And I guess to make space for that kind of action and growth, you really need boundaries.
Indeed. That comes up in the importance of saying no.
Yeah.
This is where the subtle art really comes into practice. He clarifies that boundaries aren't walls. They're more like filters for your sanity.
Filters, I like that.
Yeah, it's about saying no to things that just don't serve your core values, which then allows you to say a much more profound yes to what truly matters to you. In today's FOMO-driven culture, this is like essential armor.
Right. Fear missing out.
Exactly. And his quote, commitment gives you freedom because it hones your focus and eliminates distractions. That perfectly captures how saying no actually creates space.
Okay, so if we strip away all the noise, the false expectations, what's left? Manson takes us to the ultimate truth, doesn't he, in his final chapter. And then you die.
Yeah, this chapter is definitely existential, but it's also incredibly grounding. Manson just reminds us, you too shall fade. Let that liberate you.
Let it liberate you.
While
How?
mortality, he argues, clarifies what truly matters. In a world obsessed with legacy and visibility and being remembered, this is like a beautiful, necessary punch to the gut. Just be here, now.
But
Because, as he concludes, death is the only thing that can give life its value. It reframes death not as some terrifying end to be avoided at all costs, but as this clarifying force that gives life its preciousness, its urgency.
okay. We've walked through some of Manson's key ideas there. Now let's maybe zoom out a bit. Let's talk about why this book still hits so hard today, and why Manson's insights aren't just relevant, but maybe more urgent than ever for you, our listener, especially in the world we live in right now.
Yeah, it's interesting how relevant it remains. One of his most, I'd say, revolutionary concepts is that idea that happiness is a problem.
Right, counterintuitive.
Very. Instead of chasing fleeting positivity, he argues life equals problems. Solve one, and you just unlock the next level of problems. Now, this reframe isn't meant to be cynical, it's incredibly practical.
How so?
It encourages us to embrace meaningful struggle rather than constantly trying to escape discomfort. It's about accepting that life is a series of problems, and the real goal is to have better problems. Problems worth having.
And then there's his big one. You are not special. That just punches straight through the whole self-esteem movement that dominated for decades, right?
Absolutely. Manson champions humility, ordinariness, just being grounded. He argues that believing you're extraordinary without earning it actually leads to immense misery and entitlement.
So it's freeing yourself from that burden.
Exactly. Freeing yourself from the burden of constant exceptionalism, which allows you to just do the work that matters.
And related to that, the idea of choose your suffering, that really challenges us, doesn't it? To ask, okay, what pain am I actually willing to sign up for day after day after day?
It fundamentally shifts the focus away from what we want easily towards what we are willing to struggle for. And that, Manson argues, is what truly defines us. It's about actively curating your discomfort for things you value.
Which leads right back to you're always choosing, even when you don't realize it. That feels profoundly empowering.
It is. Because while you can't always control what happens to you, Manson makes it crystal clear. You're always responsible for your response.
That's where the power is.
That's where your true power and freedom lie, in how you interpret and react to life's inevitable bumps and bruises.
Okay, and why is certainty is the enemy of growth so vital right now?
Well, think about it. We live in a world that often demands unwavering conviction, right? It rewards strong opinions. But Manson argues true growth happens when we embrace doubt, when we stay open to new information, and importantly, when we admit we might be wrong.
Evolution over ego.
Precisely. Prioritizing learning over just appearing infallible. That's a crucial skill in a world changing as fast as ours.
And finally, that embrace of memento mori, remember you must die.
Yeah.
That old Stoic idea.
Yeah, death makes life meaningful. In a society often obsessed with avoiding or denying death, he suggests confronting our mortality actually frees us to live more fully, more intensely.
Because when you realize your time is limited,
You stop wasting your precious flex on trivial nonsense and you focus on what genuinely matters.
so if we connect this to why these ideas feel even more urgent today, I mean, look around. We're drowning in choice, in content chaos.
Absolutely. In this hyper-connected world, attention is the real currency, right? And most people are going broke, feeling completely overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information and demands flying at them.
Totally.
Manson's call to choose your fix carefully feels like a lifeline against that digital burnout and decision fatigue.
Yeah, it really does. And then there's what some call victim culture. Now, obviously, acknowledging real injustices is vital.
Of course.
But Manson highlights that we lose personal power when we outsource responsibility for how we respond to our circumstances. His message is about reclaiming that agency, even when things feel unfair.
And think about the age of visibility we're in. Everyone meticulously curating their identities online, optimizing every post for likes and validation.
Yeah.
Manson's call to just be real, not impressive, feels like a breath of fresh rebellion. It's about being grounded in your internal values and not constantly seeking that external thumbs up.
And the elephant in the room, AI.
Right.
As AI gets better and better, people are starting to question their own value, their purpose. Where do humans fit in?
And Manson's wisdom, I think, shifts the focus away from just output, what we produce, towards integrity and meaningful struggle. AI can mimic tasks, sure, but it can't choose what's worth suffering for. That remains a deeply human decision that defines us.
That's a really interesting point.
And finally, just the timeless truth he brings forward so powerfully. We still act like we'll live forever.
Guilty.
We all are, probably. Manson's reminder that mortality is the ultimate anchor of truth. It just cuts through all the noise, all the fleeting trends, and forces us to define our values before time runs out.
Okay, so let's quickly recap some key myths Manson really takes aim at. First, that pervasive idea that you should always be positive.
Yeah, he says negative emotions are just signals. Trying to be happy all the time is actually toxic. It denies a huge part of being human.
Then you are special.
His reality check. Believing you're extraordinary without earning it, that just breeds entitlement and fragility. You don't need to be exceptional to be worthy. Just be real. Pursue what matters.
What about the myth of you need more success, wealth, comfort to be fulfilled?
His take is that success often just equals better problems, not the absence of them. True fulfillment comes from solving problems you actually care about solving.
And the classic, find your passion and everything will fall into place.
Manson flips it. He says passion is often a byproduct of doing hard things that matter consistently. Action comes first. Motivation and passion often follow that action.
Okay. You need high self-esteem to be happy.
He argues artificial self-esteem, the kind built on empty praise, just makes you fragile. Real confidence comes from vulnerability, honest self-assessment, and actually earning competence.
And you're a victim of your circumstances.
He counters. You might not control what happens to you, but you always control your reaction. Taking responsibility for that reaction, that's where your freedom lies.
If I just figure it all out, I'll finally be certain and happy.
Nope. He says certainty is an illusion. Growth comes from being wrong, from embracing the inherent uncertainty of life.
And lastly, avoid thinking about death. It's depressing.
Manson argues the opposite. Confronting your mortality actually makes you value life more deeply. Death, far from being depressing, is what creates meaning and urgency in our lives.
It's so clear these insights come from a very real, lived-in place for Manson. He didn't just, theorize in an ivory tower.
Yeah, not at all. His own personal failures, his messy, failed businesses, toxic relationships, wandering broke through South America, all that shaped his very anti-materialistic, anti-hedonistic perspective.
You can feel it in the writing.
You really can. And it's fascinating how he blends these raw personal experiences with some pretty profound philosophical roots. He's like a modern Stoic, drawing from Marcus Aurelius, Seneca emphasizing virtue, reason, accepting what you can't control.
But there's more than just Stoicism.
Oh, yeah. He pulls from Buddhism, too, that focus on understanding and transcending suffering through desire. And existentialism thinkers like Nietzsche, Sartre, Viktor Frankl, stressing meaning through personal responsibility and struggle in this inherently uncertain world. He just translates these big, timeless ideas into really accessible modern language.
And it's not just philosophy, is it? He also touches on psychology.
Definitely. Concepts like the hedonic treadmill, that idea that our happiness kind of snaps back to a baseline even after big life changes, that suggests real fulfillment comes from deeper meaning, not just fleeting pleasures.
Right.
And of course, the profound impact of his close friend Josh's sudden death, that was clearly a huge turning point, driving home that raw truth of mortality that really anchors his whole message.
Oh.
Plus, crucially, all those years he spent blogging, coaching, interacting with thousands of readers before the book, that acted like this giant real-world focus group. He wasn't just lecturing from on high, he was in constant dialogue, refining his ideas through direct interaction and shared human experience.
Okay, so bringing it all together, what does this mean for you, our listener, someone who maybe wants to cut through the noise and live a more focused, meaningful life? What are the top, say, 5 key takeaways Manson really hopes people internalize?
Okay, top 5. First, choose your fix wisely. You have a limited supply, so spend them only on what genuinely, truly matters to you. Second, pain is inevitable, but your struggle should have purpose. Don't chase ease. Chase worthy discomfort that leads to actual growth.
Third, responsibility equals freedom. Owning your response to life, even when it's not your fault, that's your ultimate superpower. It liberates you.
Fourth, you are wrong, and that's how you grow. Embrace uncertainty. Doubt isn't weakness. It's a sign of wisdom and intellectual humility. Keep learning.
And fifth, the big one, you're going to die and that's your compass. Let mortality clarify what truly matters. Spend those precious facts like they're gold.
Manson himself actually offered a pretty great one-sentence summary for the book. He called it a brutal, honest guide to cutting through life's noise by choosing what to care about owning your shit, and finding meaning in struggle before you run out of time.
That nails it. So why read The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck now in your life? Look, it doesn't give you some neat step-by-step life plan. What it gives you is a lens.
A filter.
A filter, exactly. One that filters out the noise, spotlights what's actually real, and kind of dares you to live without all that armor of pretense. It's not gentle, not at all, but it feels kind, the kind of kindness that leaves you stronger, not softer.
Yeah. If you're feeling lost in the too muchness of modern life, just overwhelmed by expectations and that constant pressure to be more, this book really is like a compass. It points towards less but better. It encourages radical self-awareness and a focus on what is genuinely meaningful to you.
So maybe The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Feck isn't about apathy at all. Maybe it's about radical self-awareness, recognizing that our deepest freedom comes not from what we gain, but maybe from what we're truly willing to let go of.
That's a great way to put it.
So maybe something to think about.
Yeah.
What fecks might you choose to stop giving today, right now, to make room for what truly matters?